I'll ask one last question quickly before we go.
Mhm.
What role did extended family or community play in raising your children?
Oh, that's a brilliant question. Absolutely crucial. They say it takes a village to bring up a child. Very
Mm,
true. Very, very true. Not only does it help with social interaction, you find a lot of young men out there now that don't have any social skills. The reason why is because their parents just feel that because they're earning a wage and they don't need to depend on anyone, they don't interact themselves. So the children don't interact and they just sit in their room and they're on their game or their computer. So they don't know how to behave when they're with people.
mm,
You can see, I see some young men and I'm like, they just don't know what to do,
yeah.
so it's affected them mentally, so the role that the church as a Christian, for example, is one. You find that, okay, let me bring a balance. Let me just lay it all down as we are in this country. As Christians, we go to church on a Sunday, maybe we have midweek service and stuff like that. So guess what? You take your children, your family with you, they're forced to interact with other people. Families that don't go to church, they're not going anywhere. Apart from holiday or school, that's it really. They don't have a place they go to as a family. They don't have anything they do. Apart from going out, maybe they go out to a meal or whatever. But it's not like church that is constant every time we have programs, we're there. I mean, we do other things as Christians, but it just gives that opportunity. There are people that my children um, have met in church, friends they've met in church that they've grown up with, you know. So obviously some they've met in their university, but some they've also met in church that are good friends. Um, Plus, I remember there's time when we went through some challenges with one of my son who was very ill. The role the church played in supporting us as a family is priceless,
Mm,
because not only did we have support, they were praying, they would cook foods, bring it to us in the hospital, they would send us scriptures. There was a lot of, so it's priceless. The
mm,
community has a huge role to play in shaping the lives of our children. And we need to be intentional about the type of communities we allow them to associate with, because they would have an influence on their thinking, their mindset, and
mm.
how they end up, in future. If you're always hanging around with losers or people who don't have any goal or don't have any ambition, for them that's going to be their
End up like
normal.
that. Yeah.
If they hang out with people who are in the same sort of, you know, who have the same sort of mindset, who are going somewhere, who are focused, because that's all they see around them, it challenges them. It's on an
Challenges them.
unconscious
Yeah.
competition.
Mm,
They want to do well. That's just how human beings are. So the community has a huge role to play on the lives of our children. And we need to make sure we keep an eye on that. We need to expose them. We need to let them to be well-rounded. So, for example, if you're bringing up a child, all the child is doing is just going to church. They don't go to girls' guides. They don't go for swimming lessons, because all those different circles help them to feel more confident, more well-rounded, so that when they grow up, it won't be strange for them relating with people. When they go to a
mm,
place of work, like, because they've already had those, apart from school, they've gone to girls' guide, they learned life skills that we talked about.
mm.
It does make a difference to them when they're adults, because those are part of the things that, like I said, children's brains are like a sponge. It just literally soaks in everything that it gets. So
Mm.
all those things, all those people, how to deal with different people, exposure, learning different life skills, everything comes together. You all get all that from the community, different communities. Maybe, like I said, maybe they're the child likes badminton. Like I remember my children, all of them went to scouts, majorette, what else? Sea cadets. They did sea cadets for a while. Um, I'm just trying to think. They did so much swimming. They did a lot of. We made sure that we exposed them to those things. My son played football at one point for a league. that was on Saturdays. Thank God, at least we were able to go to church on Sundays. But even if it was only Sundays, we will still would have gone. But what we would do is he won't play every Sunday. Some Sundays we'll go and play football. Some Sundays we'll go to church because unfortunately that's all that there is. But we need to expose them because that's what makes them. It equips them for life. And also remember that when you allow them to be in those environments, it also gives you an opportunity to be able to witness. Because while they're making friendships, they're also it gives an opportunity for them to share their faith with with other people. So there's a lot that they stand to gain from being um exposed to different various communities because there are various communities. Church one community, maybe Cub Scouts, different community, Sea Cadets, different community, music lessons, a different community. All the different things. Ballet is a different community. All those different things that they like doing. Maybe running club, for example. My daughter went to running club at some point. She did a bit of uh, majorette, I think, which was a bit of ballet and dancing and all that. So they did so many different things. So yeah, very, very crucial. Very crucial. So yeah, I think I hope I've answered the question.
Oh yes, definitely, definitely, and it's very important because it also throws a very um, powerful responsibility to the communities that we are part of.
Yes.
And that is in this part of the world, we find that a lot of communities don't care about the children.
Mm,
So you could have in a place where everybody knows that child maybe doesn't have a father and he's just going about being as wild as he can be. Um, and nobody's bothered, and then he grows up to become a criminal or something. But in some other communities, especially maybe it's in a church or it's in whatever it is, you find that somebody will say, we need to do something about this. Let's gather
yes.
together. Let's do something. And the problem we have in, like, I'll say a bit in the Western world is we then find that this child, which everybody did not look at, now ends up in that community becoming a problem to everybody. But if
Absolutely.
they had in the beginning had dealt with it, I love what uh, my own pastor says. He says, every child is your child. Because
Mm,
as long as that child is in the community, whether you like it or not, one day that child will have an influence on you and on your family. So if you
absolutely.
take that child as your child, you can imagine that that child will grow up, being, um, you know, a, contributing to the society.
Mm,
Like from like what you said, it's very important exposing our children, and that's something that I have seen some parents, even when I was growing up, I've seen some parents didn't do. And when the child now maybe goes to uni or finally leaves home, the child doesn't
mm,
know anything about life, and then
yeah.
the advantage of they're being oppressed, depressed. They have all sorts of problems because they've not developed that skill while they
Yes.
are growing up. And that's very important. Allowing your children to, as much as we also need to put a balance to make sure we don't they don't
Yes.
not the ones who are just all over the place, but also make sure that they are well exposed. I want
Yes.
to say a very big thank you so much for coming on this interview in regards to parents. We have some other parts we would be covering maybe some other time, hoping that you'll be able to join us again, because we have a part two and a part three, and a part four in regards to parenting, which we will cover some other time. But today, what we've basically covered is parenting and guidance. You know,
Mm,
um,
mm,
it's what we've covered in so many ways: guiding the child, parenting
mm,
the child, being a parent. It's very important. We find a lot of parents are becoming more like pals with their children,
mhm,
and then the child grows up. without structure, and then we have
Yeah.
problems in society. So thank
Yes.
you so, so much for joining us today and for your wisdom. And I believe that our audience would have received so much. I have received, I mean, I've been blessed because I'm a parent myself. And I know that as many that would also hear you would really learn something and, be able to apply that also in parenting. So thank you so much, Elder Bayo, for joining us today. Once
Thank
again,
you.
this is Life Rock Media Group, and we have had today in this interview Elder Bayo joining us. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much for the privilege and for the opportunity. I really give all the glory. And like I say, I'm humbled that you counted me worthy enough to come and share from little experience with the audience. And I trust that the Lord will continue to bless um, this ministry and this vision that He's given you, and that it will impact the lives of many people positively and hopefully transform their lives and shed a bit of light where there's darkness in Jesus' name. Thank you once again. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. And for everyone, thank you for watching. And thank you for being a part of what we're doing here. And looking forward to seeing you again next time. Thank you very much. And God
God
bless.
bless you. Thank you, Pastor Michael. God bless you. Thank you so much. Bye,
Thank you.
everyone. Bye.
Bye.